Phinehas are back after a very long time since their previous album, with their brand new album, The Fire Itself.
So, there.
Yes.
I don't think you're gonna like what I have to say.
Okay.
So, the singles In the Night and The Fire Itself, bangers.
Mm-hmm.
But this album is too much of the same for me. Kind of like what you said with Casket. Yeah, like there's some really like Dream Thief. Oh, beautiful song.
Is that the one with the fucking nuts guitar riff opening? Or am I misremembering?
No, that's Holy Coward, I think. Wait, hold on. Let me investigate.
There was some song on this album that like a fucking insane guitar solo riff opening that blew me away when I first started. Like I didn't love the song, but the
No,
riff
that's
was fucking nuts.
yeah, that's Holy Coward, but Dream Thief also has a fantastic instrumental opening.
Yeah, the drummer goes crazy.
Yeah, just like that. It sounds
Drummer
exactly
Gumber.
like that.
Yeah, so I enjoy songs as singles and by themselves, but in the context of the album, it's just too much of the same for me. So I would so listening to this album, I would appreciate it more if it's like in my playlist and it's on shuffle. It randomly one song randomly comes on. That's how I would listen to this album.
Okay. You are not going to be as upset as I think you thought I might be, I think is the way to put it, because I agree entirely. Instead of The Fire Itself, for me, it's Eternally Apart and In the Night, are my two favorite singles. I think that Eternally Apart is probably my favorite song off this album. I just, that opening, especially as an opener, I mean, fuck me. You can't get any more perfect than that, I feel like. This has, I think, hold on, let me pull up my nerdy ass music Google Doc. Yeah, this got a 10 on opener, a 10 on closer, and a 10 on instrumentals. So it's it's the third album this year besides Era and Born of Osiris to get a 10 on instrumentals for me. Where I mean the instrumentation here is just fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Anytime it's crowd service is what it is. It's like shit. You want a breakdown? Here, have 4. You want a solo? Here, we're gonna start the song off with one. Like fuck it, why not? I mean, it's just I am such a slut for a good guitar solo. I mean, like you know this. Everybody knows this. I'm the solo guy. This album
I'm the
has
violin
solos.
guy, you're the solo
guy. Yes.
And I'm the anthemic backing vocals guy.
Justin's the post-hardcore guy. We're in there.
Bring all our bases.
Yes. Look, I like a good solo. There could be one solo on an album, and I'm happy. This has solos into breakdowns. This has breakdowns into solos. And then this has, like, intro riff? I don't know what that is. Here's a solo instead. Like, how the fuck am I not going to be happy, right? Like, I think that you are absolutely right. I think that this album has a lot of, well, I was going to say defining moments, but I think that might have just been a subconscious me looking at track 5 called Defining Moments. There are a lot of moments on here where I am listening to any given individual song and I'm like, fuck me, I love this band so much. Like this section in particular is so good. Like instrumentally, some of the best shit I've heard all year.
And then you're like, what song is it?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like for me, that's like Severed by Self-Betrayal, Thorns, even The Fire Itself to an extent, and Holy Coward as well. It's like I get those moments mixed up, and that's having heard the album like 6 or 7 times at this point. Like this is definitely far and away a playlist album. Yeah. I think for a lot of people, this is like a defining metalcore album where it's got everything that any metalcore album or metalcore fan could want. I mean, like I've seen so many people on Twitter calling this album of the year, and I think for me, if in metalcore I wanted a very specific thing, and that specific thing was the generic elements of metalcore done to the nth degree and in the most perfect way possible for 10 straight tracks, sign me the fuck up. I am happy with most of this album as like in an album context. I am 100% happy with hearing any given song in this pop up on a playlist. I think for 10 tracks, it's the same sort of thing as I was feeling with Caskets, maybe a little less, where it's too much of a good thing and it feels almost a little bit smothering. I know that's got like a negative context, but it's just like I'm being overwhelmed with too much good. I would rather take this in small doses where I can really appreciate it.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
if they released it kind of like
Of My Cement?
yeah,
Yeah.
or possibly Memphis Mayfire if they're doing it that way. We don't know.
Yeah.
Or Citizen Soldier, I guess is how.
Each individual because they kind of blend together in some ways, and obviously they've all got their own like incredible instrumental or vocal moments, but I feel like because they're all together, they blend together. If you had, like you said, where you released it track by track and there's time to develop your attachment and understanding of every song like as you go, I think it would be perfect. You know, like I said, it's too much of a good thing, and some of it just blends together, which is very unfortunate because I would like it to not. But that's like me. Like I wanna name off like a specific instrumental moment on any given song where I'm like, yeah, you need to go listen to this, and like I could tell you like, oh, there's a solo in Eternally Apart. That's fantastic. The intro on that is amazing. In the Night is an incredible closer, has a great chorus. Like Holy Cowards got that crazy ass intro and just the chorus is full of energy. Um but it's like for any given thing where I list it, I have to second guess whether or not I'm thinking of a different moment on a different song, and I think that's what's catching me up. Anyway, if you like metalcore, you need to listen to this as soon as possible if you haven't already, because this is like a metalcore lover's wet dream. This shit is so good, and if you want any, you could literally hit play on any given song here and be blown away, or at the very least, really enjoy at least one aspect of any given song.
I think that's a good
this band is
segue
incredibly
into my
talented.
thoughts on this album.
What if I didn't?
But okay,
Yeah,
fair
okay.
enough. Fair enough.
Stay in your
Justin.
lane, post-hardcore guy.
All right, so I gave this album a shot, being intrigued by Eternally Apart and In the Night as singles. The instrumentation was genuinely fantastic. The vocals were not my thing. The vocals are still not my thing. And having listened to an entire album of 10 songs of just pure metalcore where the vocals aren't my thing, I'm gonna be real, this ranks towards like the bottom end of some of like any album that I've heard this year.
Pain.
What separates this album from the absolute bottom tier of some other albums I've heard this year is that the instrumentation is so fucking good, as you have mentioned, that even if I'm not enjoying the vocals, I am headbanging along to every single song instrumentally. I can't help myself. It is all just that good instrumentally. Like, I wish I could get an instrumental of this album. I would love an instrumental of this album.
One exists. It was an attachment to stuff that was being sold on their merch store, like as a free edition. So it is out there. It could arrive in the future.
If anyone from Phinehas is out there, instrumental version to the public.
Drop it on Spotify, please God.
Please.
we need it desperately.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
Drop it. It's my album of the year.
It's not even a knock against their vocals. It's just like, because like the vocals are fine. It's just not my style, you know.
Yeah.
I have no complaints about the vocals. It's just a personal taste for me that puts me off on it. And it's the instrumentation that is keeping me from having this down at the bottom of some of my least favorite albums of this year. Like, I have only gone back to 2 songs from this album for combined probably less than 10 times each since adding them in my playlist the night they've came out. But I know that if I were to listen to this album front to back again, that I was going to fuck with the instrumentation. Guaranteed. And that I think that's really special. I have to give credit where credit is due.
I would also
That's kind
like
of all I have to say.
I was gonna say, like, before we, I guess, get to our last album here, I wanted to give credit to "The Storm in Me" as an incredible ballad. I think it's perfectly placed on this album.
That is one of the 2 tracks that I did enjoy off of this album.
I think my last kind of, well, my last note on the album, and also my last sort of sales pitch to get people to listen to this, is that I am not entirely positive if this will make my top 10 albums of the year, but in terms of raw score alone, I've heard 146 albums this year, and this ranks at the top. Like, it is at the number 1 spot in terms of raw score, because they're, like, subjectively, I'm not on it as a cohesive album. Objectively, this shit is absolutely incredible. Listen, go listen.